PhD students is the focal point of the lab. They're really the driver of research. They have this energy, and they're a vital component of the lab. But I also have a lot of undergrads. And of course, my mentoring style is a little bit different for these different groups of people. If we talk about PhD students, I always tell, so PhD students join the lab in January, the year one after rotations. And I always tell them that they need to learn methods that are necessary for their independent performance for their PhD by the end of the semester. And of course, by learning, as a lab, we train them. As a lab, they work with senior students and research associates to learn and advance their skills and their techniques. And I may give them a few months during the summer if I see that maybe teaching was taking a lot of time and classes were taking a lot of time. But that's my expectation. During this time and after this first semester, I meet with my students bi-weekly or monthly. And in these one-on-one meetings, we discuss the progress and we try to understand what worked, what didn't work. And I think I'm always constructive. I'm always helpful. But at the same time, I'm honest, because what I think students should know is how well do they do. Because if they don't get this feedback, frustration builds up. And all this together, I think it's my mentoring strategy. As a person, I think I always prefer carrots over sticks. So I always try to encourage and motivate students rather than punish. I'm never like the guy who's like, no, you have to stay in the lab and get this done. I'm always giving opportunities and encourage. Yeah, so I strongly encourage them to present. I think it's very important and necessary part of the academic training. I encourage all my students, both graduate and undergraduate, go to Student Research Week that we have here at Texas A&M and present and compete, because it allows the student to get the feedback, and I think it's very important. And also, I send all my students to conferences. These meetings are very important to get the feedback from the professionals, from people in this research community. It's completely different feedback that students get at Student Research Week that is much more general audience. And I think all these pieces help students to shape up their research. I don't really have different mentoring strategies, but I always tell that they need to look at industry. And I, as a person who works in a pharma company, I know very well what is industry, and I can advise them what is good and what is bad in industrial jobs. I tell them, yes, it's a nice work balance. It's 9-to-5 job, but there are some disadvantages. You may get bored, or you may feel you do the same thing over and over again. But it's ultimately their decision what they want to do. I'm a little bit harder on students that want to pursue academic careers, because I think that academic jobs are much harder to get. They're much more competitive than industrial jobs.